What if I told you that the world's most powerful nation was once nothing more than forests, tribes, and quiet, untouched land? A place where no one spoke of presidents, borders, or dreams. A place that would one day rise from rebellion to empire. This is the story of how ordinary people, war, revolution, slavery, courage, and hope created the America we know today. Welcome to the entire history of the United States, in one journey. In the beginning, long before the United States became a nation, this land was home to millions. Native American tribes lived across the continent, from the Apache and Navajo in the west to the Iroquois in the northeast. They built villages, hunted, traded, and honored the land as sacred. But their world would soon collide with a force from across the ocean. In 1492, a man named Christopher Columbus arrived in the Americas. He didn't discover an empty land, he discovered a world already full of life. But his arrival opened the door for European exploration. Spain, France, and England raced to take pieces of this new world. Over the next century, settlers began building colonies. Jamestown, Virginia, in 1607. Plymouth in 1620. Slowly, farms, towns, and cities appeared along the Atlantic coast. But these new settlements were not built alone. Enslaved Africans were captured and forced across the ocean. They were sold as property and worked under brutal conditions. The foundations of early America were stained with suffering and forced labor, a truth that history cannot ignore. As the colonies grew, tension began to spark. Colonists were tired of being ruled from across the Atlantic. "No taxation without representation," they shouted. England taxed them heavily, but gave them no voice. And one night in Boston, resistance exploded. The Boston Tea. Hardy, angry colonists threw British tea into the sea. It was more than a protest. It was a warning. Then, 1775. The first gunshot of revolution. The American Revolutionary War had begun. George Washington led farmers and volunteers who had never seen battle against the most powerful empire in the world. And in 1776, the colonies declared something the world had never seen: a nation where people could choose their government. Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. The words changed history. All men are created equal. After years of sacrifice, blood, and freezing winters, America won. In 1789, the Constitution was written, a blueprint for a country built on freedom, rights, and laws. George Washington became the first president. The United States of America was born. But the young nation was not peaceful for long. Its hunger for land grew. Settlers moved west, across rivers and mountains, taking native land through treaties, force, and tragedy. The Trail of Tears saw thousands of Native Americans forced to leave their homes. America expanded, but the cost was human lives. By the 1800s, the country was divided. The North had factories, cities, and wage workers. The South had plantations, cotton, and slavery. Two Americas, in one nation. The tension became unbearable. In 1861, the Civil War erupted, brother against brother. Abraham Lincoln, president during the darkest days, fought to keep the nation together and end slavery. 4 years of brutal war resulted in more than 600,000 deaths. But in the end, slavery was abolished. The Union survived. Lincoln paid with his life, assassinated in 1865. After the war, America rebuilt, slowly and painfully. Immigrants arrived from Europe, Asia, and around the world, seeking opportunity. Railroads crossed the country. Factories boomed. Cities exploded with life. New York, Chicago, San Francisco. The Statue of Liberty stood tall, with her famous words, "Give me your tired, your poor." The American dream was born. The idea that with hard work, you could rise and become anything. Then, 1914. World War I. America joined late, but helped end the war. When it was over, the 1920s roared with jazz, radios, cars, and new freedoms. But in 1929, disaster struck. The stock market crashed. Millions lost everything. Bread lines and homelessness became common sights. The Great Depression crushed the nation. Then came another storm, 1939. World War II. America became the arsenal of democracy. While soldiers fought overseas, factories at home powered the war effort. Women took on roles in production lines. The world changed, and by 1945, the United States emerged not just alive, but as a global superpower. Nuclear weapons ended the war and opened a terrifying new age. After the war, America's new status was solidified. The Cold War began a silent battle of ideologies with the Soviet Union. It was an era of the space race, spies, and fear. But it was also an era of hope, as America landed the first man on the moon in 1969. At home, another fight was happening. The struggle for civil rights. African Americans demanded equality. Martin Luther King Jr. marched, spoke, and inspired a movement that changed the nation. Laws were rewritten because people refused to remain silent. The late 1900s brought technology, computers, the internet, and new dreams. The world watched America's culture, movies, music, and power. But the nation also faced profound tragedy. September 11th, 2001. Terror struck New York and Washington. America went to war again, in Afghanistan and Iraq. For years, soldiers fought, families waited, and the nation questioned itself. Then came the 21st century, bringing a recession, deep political division, a global pandemic, and widespread protests. America became a battlefield of ideas. Freedom, identity, and power were constantly debated. And yet, through every crisis, America keeps rising. It's a country born from revolution, shaped by pain, strengthened by diversity, and driven by one core belief, that a person can change their future. So, what is America? It is not just land. It is not just a flag. It is a story of people who fought, struggled, dreamed, and believed that tomorrow could be better than today. And that story is still being written. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey through history interesting, please like and subscribe for more stories like this.